Good morning, everybody. My name is Amy Elias, and I always like to go back to basics. That's really basically been my practice since I've been doing yoga for a super long time. My dad was a very big influence in that for me. He was in the fashion industry, and everything that he did was basically going back to basics. Like, what do people want to have in their life? What kind of clothing do they want to feel comfortable in? And it even expanded into his eating and to the way he lived his life. Everything is just back to basics. Nothing so much out of the planet, but really just keeping everything grounded and centered. His favorite thing was just to sit at the beach. He didn't have to go to museums or any traveling. He was just content with just sitting in the sun, back to basics, eating well, and enjoying his life for the majority of his entire life. So I'd like to start us off by looking for what we call seeking alignment. When we seek alignment, balance happens. When we look for balance, we can't really find alignment. We can't really find the balance. So we have to seek alignment, and then the end result is that balance occurs. There's 4 parts to our breath, and in this time of the world, we can feel a little bit unsettled, very much unsettled. Lots of people, many beings and people are feeling very uprooted by the news and the current events of our times. So, as we know, yoga's been around for a super long time, but we're able to utilize our body, the somatics of it, to really ground and root into what we know, which is our own body. So we have this innate desire to achieve that. For me, that's what it's like. I desire to really just, get on my mat and find my own alignment so that I can feel balanced throughout my day and be able to help other people in whatever it is that they're going through. That's kind of my purpose. So this innate desire we call Icha. Jnana is kind of where it's the power of our knowledge. How do we utilize this knowledge to create the life that we desire, which would then be Kriya, which is the action thereof of Icha, the desire, Jnana, the knowledge, and the Kriya is the action steps. So you can think of it as attitude, alignment, action. So this action becomes a manifestation of all that we have just put forth prior to that. So let's sit here and saturate ourselves into this innate desire that we feel. What is it that we want? The jnana, the knowledge. What's the knowledge that we can do to have that happen? And then the action step that goes into that. And from that point, we have chitta, ananda. Chit ananda is really consciousness and bliss. So let's keeping our consciousness so that we can feel the blissful moment within ourselves. Not inclusive of the outer environment, but within ourselves, so that we can come forth into the conversation with a greater sense of clarity and a greater sense of presence and a greater sense of consciousness. So we'll just begin our practice with 3 beautiful breaths. So I will chime. And last few breaths. And we'll let that dissolve into this warp and weft of our universe. So let's come on and tap into this universe that has its own rhythm, this pulsation. We call it spanda, where everything just contracts and expands, much like our breathing mechanism. So you can take your hands right onto your lower ribs and just take a nice breath and feel how the ribs open. You put it on the side, you put it up high, wherever you feel like you could feel your ribs. So when we're exhaling, our ribs come together. When we inhale, the ribs open. And taking these nice clarifying breaths, we begin to tap into this present moment, to our consciousness. Last 2 breaths. So I will be minimally speaking and just highlight some alignment principles because I want you to tap into where you're at, to tune in, to tap in, turn on to your body in this time and space. See where you expand and where your pulsation of spanda is, your mind, your blood vessels, your bones, the breath. Nice, and very gently inhale, take the arms all the way down, and exhale. Come high on your fingertips. Lift up and move the sit bones way back. And taking the hands in line with your knees, come high on the fingertips. Shrug the shoulders up so the side body gets nice and long. That allows for the shoulder blades to go onto the back body so your heart can come forward. So soften, releasing. Find both sit bones on the floor, so you may need to wiggle the pelvis. Tap into your innate desire. Your core desire is to feel free, to feel safe, to feel connected. On your next inhale, inhale and come all the way to your right side so your belly button hovers right over your extended femur. Extend the heart and then exhale, twist a little bit more. If this left sit bone rises or this left hip rises, then come back off. That's the alignment. Every inhale comes from that hip structure, extending up and out through the top of the head. And every exhale, you get a little deeper, more to the right side. Next inhale, come through center and walk your hands over to your left side. Belly button hovering over that left femur bone. So come up high. It doesn't have to be low. Just stay where you're at. If you feel like you can take your right hand to the outside of the left knee and just using the back fingertips, press down and let it move that right low belly under the belly button, under the navel, towards your left side. You can come a little bit more deeper, feel free. And then inhale, come right back center. Both hands onto your knees and inhale, shrug the shoulders up. And then exhale, fall forward. Inhale, extend the spine and the heart. And then exhale, sit all the way back, move the belly button in towards your back body. Inhale, shrug the shoulders up. The heart melts right inside. A nice inhale, drinking some fresh air. And then exhale, moving the belly button back. Last three. Owning their own experience is this consciousness, this chitta. Last one. And exhale. Good. Inhale, rise up. And take this right leg all the way over to the left side. Lift up the right booty cheek with your hands and spread the butt cheek so that you can actually find your sit bone. Let it land without sitting on your bottom foot. Hold on and just have that front right foot into the ground. It's really rooted. Get nice and tall and just soften and melt the heart. It's all about the mind. I find that as I've been aging and as I go forward in life, the more back to basics I do, like my mind, my body, and my breath, it really helps me ground and get fortified and resourced into my life. So when things come my way, the thing that I want to go back into is my own attitude, my own alignment, and my own doing, the kriya, the action. So sometimes I'll take a little pause. So there's no reaction, but there's a sense of responding. And then just walk that that left low belly to the right. Left hand is onto the shin. Take that right arm up into the sky and then plant it behind you. Again, high on the fingertips. Lean backward. So I'll show you that. So you're high on your fingertips, lean back. You can stay here, inhaling like you're on a lounge chair in Guadeloupe. And bend your right ear to your right shoulder and nod your head. Yes, you feel a nice lengthening from left shoulder to left ear. And come on up. If you can, come up a little bit, bend the back elbow. See if you can slide that front left elbow in front and press the right thigh away. So press, lift up your nose like you're a royal family member. Notice that spanda, where it is. Notice that expansion. Find your breath. And then inhale, come right back center. But this time, take your right hand on your knee and your left hand on the sole of your foot, but really hug your foot with your left hand. And we're going to just roll the shin almost parallel to the ground. If you can't get it parallel, if this is what you could do, that's fine. But just do what you can. So you're opening, oiling each joint with synovial fluid that freshens the joints and keeps them cushy. Nice. Beautiful. And then take that leg down and reverse it. Take the other one up. So now we're taking this left leg around on top of the bottom right. And we're going to do a nice twist on this side. So take the left hand into the ground, lean backward, so you're bending that back elbow, lift up that left booty cheek, and just stay here. Hold on to that front shin. Rebound, earth, press into the earth. So root to rise the heart and twist all the way to your left. Again, you can employ leaning backwards a little bit more and taking that right elbow and pressing that front top left thigh away. Rooting down to what you know. Rooting down to know that you're breathing in. One of my teachers, Thich Nhat Hanh, would say, inhaling, and to tell yourself, I know I'm inhaling. I know I'm breathing in. Breathe out, I know I'm breathing out. Bringing that sense of consciousness. It seems simple, but it's basic. But it's bringing that awareness, not just to breathe in and out unconsciously, but to take some time to breathe consciously. And drop that left ear to left shoulder and nod your head yes. Good, and then inhale, rise up. And take a hold of your left foot with your right hand and your left hand on top of the left knee, and you're going to spin the shin around in an orbit, flexing the toes, really getting a nice grip on the arch of your foot. Beautiful. And then planting that down, let's get both soles of the feet to touch, and lift up and roll the top inner thighs down from the outside in. So you lift up and you tip the pubis bone back. Hold on to the ankles or the toes and get a nice tall lengthening to the spine. Exhale. It's all about the communication of your neurons and your nerves into the brain and how they speak to each other, the nerves of the spine. And just fall down. Twist left and right. Find that expansion and contraction. Rooting down Going back to basics, just keeping it simple. It's not about how fast you can go and make it gymnastics. What's sustainably sustainable? And that's seeking alignment. And then gently come on up. Fingertips behind you. We're going to take our legs wide. So high on the fingertips. And we're going to just drop the knees to your right as you look to the left. You want to roll that top left shoulder bone back, top of the shoulder back, so you feel the back left tip of the shoulder blade hugging into the carving into the back of your heart. Stay here and breathe. Flex the toes. You're really working these feet actively. So nose is away from where the knees are. Two more breaths. Active legs, squeezing the muscles on the bone, a co-contraction to remember consciously where you are, who you are, why you are, where you are. And then inhale, come center, and lift up the legs, keeping them wide, and drop the knees to the other side. And we're going to shrug the shoulders back and turn your nose to the right. Active feet. Again, still feeling the expansion of the lungs. And you'll know they're expanded because you'll feel your ribs widen and expand. Every time you exhale, you feel the ribs co-contract onto the body, onto the trunk. Take 3 more breaths. Active toes. And then inhale, come all the way up. Take the right hand to come onto your left knee and spin a look at all the way to your left. So you're lengthening, you're feeling the whole transverse abdominal muscles getting a little bit of a workout. Breathing up against perhaps the restriction it may be showing you. So bring your consciousness. What is it that I'm noticing? And breathing into it. Wherever we put our attention, light goes, photons go, and we get to shift it. Okay. And lift the right arm all the way up and let it travel over to the opposite side. Taking that left arm, coming to the right, lifting up the heart. Breath. And then inhale, come all the way up. Let's come onto all fours. So you're taking your hands slightly behind your, right, slightly ahead of your shoulders, I should say. So, like that, yeah. And then we want to just inhale, arching the spine, melt the heart. So you don't want to be up here, you want to floss the shoulder blades. So the arms are straight, you're just descending the heart. So you get a nice opening in the shoulder girdle. If you want, you could bend your elbows a little bit and then melt the heart. You can also come high on your fingertips and shrug the shoulders and melt your heart that way. And then inhale, look up. Exhale, point your toes, tuck your tailbone, and lift the belly button all the way in to touch the back of the spine. And move the hips side by side. Active toes, clicking the earth. Active tops of the feet. And then inhale, plant both hands. Face looks forward, and then soften and release. Good. Just melt the elbows down. Inhale, come on up. Exhale, down. So hugging the elbows into the midline. Inhale, come on up. You're clawing the floor as if you're opening a jar, a very large lid. You're grabbing the lid. And then exhale. Inhale, exhale last time. And with your hands up, place your elbows. Interlace your hands so that your pinkies stack one on top of the other. Then interlace the fingertips. Press down. Shrug the shoulders. And we're just going to lift up the hips. Straighten the legs. If your low back hurts, please open your legs as wide as your mat. Let the knees ride right over your second toe as far as alignment is concerned. But what we're doing is we're pressing the pinky edge of your hand and the outer forearm down to the earth so your heart can melt. Breathe. This inversion is so good to calm the nervous system as you squeeze the muscles on the bone that insulates the nerves. And then inhale, bend one knee, straighten the other. And then exhale, bending the opposite. Let's continue using the breath, knowing that you're breathing in. Breathe in and say to yourself, I know that I'm breathing in. And then inhale, bend the knees, come down, point your toes, extend the arms forward, and just lengthen. The arms all the way out. Take your hands onto the back of the body, palms up, and just inhale, rise all the way up, opening up. And then exhale, take it down. So we're going to inhale, come all the way up, and exhale right back down. 3 more. Inhale. And then exhale. 2 more. And exhale. And exhale. Now from here, take your hands forward, and you're going to claw yourself forward into a mini cobra. Soften and release, point your toes, and come on down. So you're hugging the elbows in. Fingertips are behind you. And then softly, just begin to wiggle side by side. Come behind the fingertips. Press the toes down. And on your next inhale, extend your palms down next to you. Press the toes into the ground, tops of the feet. Roll the inner thighs in. On your next inhale, just lift up the upper body, rooted down by the tops of the feet. And then exhale. 6 more. Inhale, rise. Hold, shoulder blades are on back. Exhale. 3 more. Last one. Stay here and just breathe for 3. Even shrug your shoulders. Take the crook out of the back of the neck, lengthening the back of the neck, keeping it equal front and back, equanimity. And on your next inhale, prepare and take the hands down, stacking the fists or the tops of the hands, and rest your forehead. From here, lift up both legs. You may feel pressure on your pubis. Find the balance, so you may have to wiggle your hips one way or the other, and then get that balanced place. Inhale, rise up, and lower. 5 more. Inhale, exhale, lower. Or try inhale here, and exhale, rise. Two more. Stay up, and then just as if you're swimming, kicking the flutter kick. And then lower. Place the hands next to the chest. Curl your toes. Lift up the thighs and come into plank pose. Stay here. And you can roll the toes to face the right side of your mat. Looking down and forward. And then roll the toes to face the left side of your mat. And then inhale. Exhale, come back into down dog. Look under the right armpit. Straightening the legs. And on your next inhale, come down and face me. Come into cross-legged position. You can take your own Shavasana, which is always the thing to do after we do a movement, because it integrates everything. In Shavasana, just laying flat on the floor, arms next to you at 45-degree angle, and you're just softly relaxing. Right now, take your right hand onto your heart and your left hand on top. Thanking yourself for carving out a moment of time in the midst of hectic, turmoil, scared, fearful, confusion, uncertainty. But feel yourself tethered to this consciousness that is you, the trust and faith that you have within yourself for who you are, outside of the kabillion opinions of anybody else. But stay true to your own sail. Be prepared to change course should the winds get too big. But anchor into this present moment. As the fluctuations of the mind begin to relax and the pulsations begin to soften, just note where you are. And then inhale, take the hands to the heart. Namaste, and thank you so much for joining me and going back to basics, going really what fuels us is what's basic, what's universal and timeless, something that stands over the course of time. That is the truth for me. So what's basic, what's universal and timeless for all people. We all want to feel happy, we all want to feel love, we all want to feel connected. Have a beautiful rest of your day, and I'll see you next time. This is Amy Elias. Feel free to contact me, and I'm available for one-on-one lifestyle coaching using your epigenome, your diet, your lifestyle, your environment, and the relationships therein.